Today, we're diving into a really unexpected battlefield, one where super advanced generative AI is meeting the old-school practice of military wargaming. You see, the U.S. Army is looking at a brand new kind of recruit, one that doesn't wear a uniform but might just reshape the entire future of strategy.
And that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Can an AI, something we usually think of for, chatbots or making art, actually hang in the complex, high-stakes world of military wargaming? Well, let's find out. So over here, you've got the sleek, digital brain of generative AI. And over there, you have the tactical, very analog world of traditional wargaming. We're talking maps, rulebooks, and of course, human brains making tough calls. What we're exploring is how the U.S. Army is smashing these two worlds together.
Okay, so to really get what's going on here, we first need to get on the same page. Let's quickly define what we're actually talking about when we say generative AI and what a war game really is.
First up, generative AI, or Gen-I for short. Simply put, this isn't an AI that just crunches numbers. It's an AI that creates. It learns from just massive amounts of data and then uses those patterns to make brand new, original stuff. It's basically a creative engine.
And this visual really helps put it in perspective. Gen AI isn't some standalone thing. It's a very specific skill that's nested way down inside the bigger world of AI.
Yeah, you can think of it as the razor-sharp tip of a very, very large technological spear.
And then you have the war game. Now, it's really important to get this. This is not a game you play for fun. It's a highly structured simulation. It's a tool that's used for education, for analysis, for training, and for helping leaders make huge decisions by exploring all the things that could happen in a conflict.
So, you've got the creator and the simulation. How on earth are they supposed to form an alliance? Let's take a look at how this whole thing actually works in practice.
This diagram shows the whole idea perfectly. The AI, which is usually a large language model, or LLM, it's not running the show, not at all. Instead, it's plugged into the wargaming cycle. It acts as an agent or an advisor. It chats with the human players, it processes info, it gives feedback, all while staying inside the rules of the game.
You know, the best way to think about the AI's role actually comes from the military folks themselves. They see it as a research assistant who never gets tired, a sparring partner you can bounce crazy ideas off of, or even just a helpful buddy who can look over your work. It's all about augmenting the human, not automating them.
But, just like with any powerful new technology, this thing is a total double-edged sword. The potential upsides are huge, but so are the risks, and that's the tightrope the Army has to walk.
And here is that dilemma in black and white. On the one hand, AI could make these war games way more realistic, way faster, and just more efficient. But on the other hand, you've got some serious risks. You've got biases from its training data, the chance it could just make stuff up, they call that hallucinations, and the very human risk of just trusting it too much.
So, how do you deal with all those risks? Well, there's one guiding principle that is absolutely critical. The AI's output is advisory, not authoritative. It's a consultant, never the commander. The final decision always rests with a human.
Now, not all war games are created equal, and the stakes can change a lot, depending on what the game is for. And this is really key to understanding where you can safely use this kind of AI.
The Army basically breaks wargaming down into 3 tiers. First, you have educational games to teach concepts. Then there are training games to make soldiers better at their jobs. And finally, you have experimentation games. And these are used to inform massive, real-world decisions. As you can guess, the level of risk for each is totally different.
Let's start with the safest place to play, educational war games. Here the risk is super low. I mean, if the AI messes up or gives some weird advice, what's the worst that can happen? A student gets a bad lesson and the instructor has to correct them. It's the perfect little sandbox to explore in.
Okay, moving up a level, we have training. Here, the risk is medium. A bad AI output could maybe teach a soldier a bad habit. Now that's more serious, for sure, but it's still manageable. Good leaders can spot those things and fix them with more training.
And then you have the highest stakes of all, experimentation war games. Here the risk is a really big deal. A flawed result, maybe from a biased or hallucinating AI, could lead to terrible decisions about how we design the military of the future. The consequences there could be very, very real.
Which brings us right back to the single most important part of this whole equation. It's not the silicon, it's not the fancy algorithm, it's the human being in charge.
Just listen to this quote.
It's from an Army officer after he actually used AI in an experiment. His job was to sort through thousands of observations, an impossible task for one person in that time frame. He knew the AI might miss things, but he said he was absolutely certain that he, as the human, would have missed way more without its help. Now that's the power of this partnership.
And here's the bottom line. After the AI helped him find all those key insights, that officer was still personally responsible for every single word in his final report. The AI is an incredible tool to make us better, but it never, ever replaces human responsibility.
So that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about for the future. As this AI technology gets better and better, as the AI advisor gets smarter, the real challenge isn't just about building a better AI. It's about how we build better humans to command it.